I know we can all relate to losing motivation when it comes to something that we're super passionate about, which, like, shouldn't make sense because you're really passionate about something. Why did you lose motivation over it? I can relate as an artist. I'm going to talk about my artistic tips on how I've been overcoming this lack of motivation. I can say, as of recent, especially the start of this new year, and even like the end of last year, I've just seriously lost motivation when it comes to my art. If this is your first video by me, I have a comic I'm putting on Webtoon, and I will tell you all the reasons why it drives me up the wall, cuckoo bananas, and why I've just totally lost motivation working on it. Not as of recent, though. As of recent, I got my motivation back. Sort of. I've been doing pretty good. I've got the ball rolling again. I've noticed when it comes to me and my workflow, it's all about momentum. Maybe I'm sure most people can relate to that. It's once I get that momentum flowing, it's hard to get it to stop. And that feels really good. Feels great to get the ball rolling. I want to go over 3 reasons I deeply relate to why I lose motivation, and then for each of those reasons, I have 2 solutions. And I'm sure you guys can relate to these problems as well. Because lately, I have seriously felt like quitting. I've obviously been looking up a lot of videos on YouTube about like uh feel like quitting? Watch this. There's one thing I've really gleaned from it. If you feel like you're not good enough and you really just feel like giving up, you need to assess why and give up if you want to. That's a hard thing for people to hear, but you're in luck because if it's hard for you to hear and if you don't want that, then don't give up. That feeling right there is the reason to not give up. If you're told to give up and you get scared, you feel anxious, or you feel like, dude, I don't want to, then that's your reason to not give up. In a lot of these videos, people just mention reassess where you're at, especially when it comes to art, because when you're really motivated and you're really passionate about art, it's hard to make money that way. It really is. And if you feel like giving up and you realize, yeah, I want to give up, then that's okay. You can just give up. But for me, whenever I would hear that, oh, you can just give up, I would like immediately get anxious. I'd be like, I really don't want to. I don't want to give up. I don't want to. I want to do this. That right there is a huge motivation factor when you really put yourself in that situation. I'm especially super creative and imaginative. I'm sure you guys are too. So I would immediately think of like, oh, what would my life be without my art or without my comic or without this like drive to create comics? What would I look like? What would I be? And I would get scared and I'd be like, I don't want to be that person. And that's like a great motivating factor. And then I just wanted to share a little bit of my personal experience as of recent, what I've been going through regarding that. But back to my set outline and structure I made for this video. Your reason for losing motivation is number 1 being you feel like you're not good enough. 2 solutions. 1, find your favorite attributes when it comes to your art. Find something about your art find your little charm. Find that little charm that you just love, something that you always add at the end of your art piece or at the beginning of your art piece, or when you're making art, when you're painting or drawing or whatever it might be. You should be able to romanticize the process and even romanticize the end result because it should be intimate and personal to you. And if you give up, then what out there is going to have that little hint of charm that only you can provide? I find that to be encouraging because I feel like my style, I'm far from a good drawer, I'm going to be honest, because I'm self-taught. I've taken pretty few classes, but regardless, my style is pretty developed, like pretty recognizable, I'd say. When I lose that motivation, oh, I'm not good enough, I look at my art and I'm all like, well, it's got this hidden charm to it because I don't see much stuff like it out there. Even if I see stuff like it, there's something unique about my art. It's like, it's mine. If it's not out there, then who's gonna have it? Who's gonna make it? So another solution for this, and this is a solution I haven't leaned into much just because learning tends to intimidate me, but learn things. You feel like you're not good enough and you feel like you want to give up because of that, learn things. Maybe for some of you, you're all like, oh yeah, I can do that. I love to learn. For me, I am not good at learning. It's not that I'm not good at learning, it's just I've always learned a very unique and different way, which have made a lot of teachers think that I am not very bright. But anyway, I'm still kind of trying to find out the way that I learn best. You'd think that I'd been through enough school already to kind of get that down, but maybe I never will. Learn something new. YouTube is an incredible source You can find so many it's free sources for learning new things when it comes to art. And I don't think you can ever really stop learning. You know what I mean? I like to get books. I like to just buy books all the time. And there are a lot of great books teaching you how to draw and teaching you how to do this and that and how to do art, you know? So just learn something new, do something new. So another reason is getting burnt out. Working on a comic, it's been a really big project, especially since I started when I was 15. And in the midst of working on a comic, I've gotten my first job, gotten my second and third job, gotten my driver's license, I've gotten a car, I've gotten a second car, actually. It's a really long story, I won't lie. I've been in multiple relationships. I mean, like, I have lived life all throughout working on this one project. It's kind of really crazy to think about and to reflect on. There's been so many changes, ups and highs and lows and downs and this and that. And obviously, I've been burnt out. And your two solutions to being burnt out: take time off. I have a really hard time taking time off, but what makes me feel better about it is understanding when I take this time off and time to either just relax or to focus on something else, then when I get back to the project at hand, I will feel a lot more motivated and I'll feel rejuvenated. I'll feel more ecstatic and energized to be working on said project again. And another thing you can do when it comes to being burnt out is trying something new. If you feel like, especially working on a comic, a lot of times it's so tedious, it feels like the same thing over and over again, and that comes from a lack of skill, to be said. I'm narking on myself. I'm not like calling anyone out here. I'm narking on myself. But it can feel very tedious, and trying something new always feels good. I know working on a making digital art, especially, I get burnt out from. What fixes that burnout is making something traditionally, either coloring or inking or painting. Just being able to do something traditionally totally makes me feel better. And it could be like the opposite for you, or it could be like I spend so much time inking and then trying something new. You could spend some more time like coloring, just something new. I can personally relate to that, refilling my motivation. I feel more motivated when I try something new like that. Another reason, a third reason, the final reason, not seeing desired results. Whew, this one sucks because I feel like we can all relate to some extent. Putting so much effort into something and not seeing your desired results, or like not seeing any results at all, especially when the whole time you're thinking about what you're doing, you're like, oh, people are gonna love this. Oh, it's gonna do so good on social media, or oh, I'm gonna reap such great rewards, and then none of that happens, and you're like, wow, I will give up. I'm going to just it's a hard, especially when you've been doing it for a long time. For my art account, I've been doing that since I was literally 15, and I there's been many highs and lows, and it's really easy for me to just like want to give up on Instagram altogether when it comes to my art, just because I'm never reaping any rewards. Now I feel like I'm just going on and on, but it really it just sucks. It's a really sucky feeling, especially when society, driven by social media, dictates your value as numbers. So I think that's a really important thing. Actually, I'm gonna start wrapping everything together as I like staring off into space and I'm just rambling about something or whatever, just because I'm like, but wrapping it all together, when you're losing motivation because you're not seeing the desired results, first and foremost, understand that your value as a person, your value as an artist, your art's value, none of that is dictated by numbers. It's not. Everyone wants to convince you it is. And in some ways, if you're trying to make money, it feels that way. But really, the intrinsic value of who you are and what you create is not dictated by numbers. Point blank, period. But now, getting back into the solutions I wrote down in the beginning, first off, remind yourself why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to do it? And if your reasons are all janked up, then I think it's really time to reassess your reasons why. So if you're an artist and you go online and you're like, oh, I'm such a good artist, I'm just going to blow up immediately, and then that doesn't happen, then you need to take a step back and be like, do I just want to be famous? And that's not working out. Let's find a new why. Let's find a new reason why, or find a new path altogether, because that path was obviously prideful and gluttonous and lustful to think I'm just going to blow up right away when that doesn't always happen. That's not always the case. For me, when it comes to reminding myself why, my motivation jumps through the roof because it's very personal and intimate to me. I really have all these ideas and I have all these stories and all these characters in mind. So reminding myself the why makes me motivated. The why being I want to put my stories out there. It feels like a caged bird that I needs to set free. And how great is it gonna feel as a caged bird to spread your wings and to fly? And that's kind of what it feels like to me. And that's the reason why I keep going. That's the reason why I feel like I can't stop. I have to keep going because I have to get it all out of me like a caged bird. The second solution is trying something new, which hilarious. That's the solution for being burnt out. What I mean by that is if your why isn't working for you, create a different why. Or if what you're doing right now isn't working for you, like I'm posting consistently or I'm posting this, but that's not working, try posting something else or try redirecting what you're doing. Social media, especially, like the algorithm is changing all the time. What's trending is changing all the time. So if you really want to keep up with social media, it's important to be on top of that, even though it's like exhausting. It's like a full time job. But if you're not finding your desired results, and I mean, this goes for everything, right? If you're not finding your desired results, you need to dig yourself a new path. You need to find a new direction. You need to do something new till you eventually get those results that you want. And it could take, you need to try it again and again and again because maybe you're kind of doing it wrong. But if you're doing it again and again the right way, then might as well try something new, right? So lately, I've just seriously been suffering from a lack of motivation. And it just really hurts. It just really sucks because I've been super out of character. I've been sleeping way more than I usually do. I've been sleeping in, which I rarely do. But genuinely, what has gotten me out of that rut as of recent is reminding myself why I do this, reminding myself all the little charms that my art has that other art doesn't, and taking time off to actually rest. Taking time off and then stressing about taking time off isn't really taking time off. When I take a day to just not draw at all or to not even think about drawing, I keep myself busy with other things and it motivates me when I come back to drawing because I'm all like, oh, I took this time off, I need to catch up. But it's not a stressful, oh, I need to catch up, like, or else I'm missing a deadline. It's not like that. It's more like, oh, I miss this. I miss it. Now I want to catch up because I miss doing this. Lacking motivation sucks. It can be personal and it can be embarrassing. It can feel humiliating, losing motivation and not producing what you were once able to produce or producing what you really want to produce. But here's your reminder if you got this far into the video that you're doing a good job. And ask yourself these questions, reassess where you're at, listen to your heart. Just kidding. That's kind of gay. Listen to your fart. Thank you for watching and support me online, I guess. I don't care. Whatever you do. Subscribe, though, to my YouTube. Love you.